Hello, welcome to my channel, Get Growing with Grant. I'm making this channel for a guide to permaculture and specifically food forests in Louisiana and areas that have climates like mine. You'll be able to get lots of knowledge from here that you can use in any climate or growing zone, but I'm going to address a lot of issues that we have here, such as hurricanes, flooding, heavy rain. We have high heat, and we have very clay-filled soil. So those are some of the main problems that I'll be addressing, and how we deal with that, and what kind of plants do good here that thrive and not only put on leafy growth but also fruit, because we have a lot of plants that will grow here, but they don't get enough chill time to make fruit. So you want to make sure you get the right selections for our specific climate, and I'll be able to help with that. Part of this introduction will be to tell you a little about myself, and then to show you a little about my garden and my food forest that I've just started installing. I got wood chips delivered a month ago and got them all laid out. So anyway, I've been working for about 10 years in wastewater analysis and drinking water analysis in a laboratory, and I work for the Louisiana Department of Health. I do drinking water laboratory certification and quality assurance for our chemistry drinking water lab for the state. And I'm really passionate about protecting drinking water. It's super important to me, but I'm starting to get a lot more passionate about permaculture. I just feel like our soils are one of the most important things right now. We need to find a way to keep water in the ground, because our water cycles are kind of out of control right now, and there's too much water in the air, and the water is moving back up to the air too quickly. So we need a way to hold it down here longer so we can access it, and so it can drain and refill aquifers. Sorry, I get a little emotional talking about stuff like this because I feel like it's so important, but so many people don't know, or don't seem to care, or they're worried about making profits. So we're just going to keep on status quo until everything's gone, you know. Anyway, let me take you on a tour around the garden, and we'll see what's growing on. Pete. So here we are in my backyard. I've got some ginger down there and some nice sized bananas that fruit some years if we don't get an early frost, but if we get a heavy frost they die back every year and they have to start over. So that can be a challenge in this specific spot. In New Orleans, they don't have that problem. It's warm enough for them to keep bananas, and they grow all year round. This is ageratum, or blue or purple mist flower, and this came up wild in my yard, and I kind of just encouraged it and let it grow. Anyway, I think it's really beautiful. These are giant gardenias. Tried to trim this one back and learned a lesson that gardenias don't like to be shaped when they're old, and what it did in response was send up tons of new shoots, which is all of this growth. That's all within the past year. Anyway, we got dwarf papyrus moving into my dry creek bed that I installed about 3 years ago. This area is really low-lying and had lots of flooding, and so I put in so much pea gravel and rocks, and it's deep down here. I'm talking 10, 12, maybe 15 inches, and that's to ensure that enough water can drain through here so mosquitoes don't breed, because mosquitoes are a huge problem in Louisiana, and you don't want standing water. You actually need aeration, which is why I've also trying to install some electricity in here and get a pump going, and then I can pump water from down here up to my waterfall over there, and that should happen relatively quickly. This project's been in the works for a while, but you know, there's a lot going on and some things get priority over others. This is a lot of baby swamp mallow. I cut back the main plant. You can see the stems over here. It dies back every year. Most of my hibiscus do. This is a beautiful colocasia elephant ear. Got some spearmint back here, tons of iris, star jasmine, pineapple mint, lots of wild morning glories and ageratum. Got this ajuga burgundy glow. Got some weeds, don't worry about those. Calancho, and here's some of the solid ajuga. But anyway, this is a nice little area. These are eastern blue stars. Lots of ageratum back here. Flax lily. So this is moving into my food forest area that I just installed. And I've got a little greens bed up against the garage. Put in a little strawberry patch, but I kind of decided I'm going to let those strawberries roam everywhere and move them everywhere. These are thornless blackberries right here. I just put in, it's a Celeste fig, Awari satsuma, lemongrass. This is like a wilderness area. I throw all my big stuff back there, and I've got tons of ageratum growing. You can see, move my compost pile out to here. These were all annual beds, but I'm going to turn some of them into permaculture. This one's going to be asparagus. Right now it's got a bunch of tomatoes that are finally starting to flower and fruit again now that the heat's died down. A bunch of pineapple sage and stevia go into seed here. I've got rosemary, lemon verbena, more tomatoes. In this bed I've got ground cherries. This is Cossack pineapple from Southern Exposure Seeds, and it's really tastes like pineapple. It's delicious. This is red Malabar spinach. You can eat the berries raw. You can eat everything raw, but the leaves are kind of mucilaginous, kind of like aloe or something like that. Not as bad as aloe, but anyway, it tastes really good in stews. We make this groundnut peanut stew called a mafi. It's an African stew. We found the recipe on Tyrant Farms, and it was delicious. So we're going to be making more of that. Got more tomatoes in here. Jimmy Nardello's, peppers. I'm going to try to overwinter those. Tons of tomatoes. Basils still going. Sweet basil, Thai basil, marigolds. Got some Ikari, Kawasaki, Kabu turnips, something like that. Sorry, I'm butchering that like crazy. These are Kiwano horned melons. These are giant Clemson spineless okra. I've gotten about, I don't know, 8 ounces from these 3, and I have 2 in the front. Garlic chives. This is going to be my blueberry bed. I'm going to just let these fill up this bed completely and just leave this bed here. I'm going to fill this bed up with raspberries, potentially. Got a bunch of red of Florence onions coming up, and these are gold ball turnips. Orange glow watermelon and moon and stars watermelon. So I've got a lot going on back here. I've got a lot going on in the front. These are all collards. My dog loves to get in this bed. Chubby, come on, man. Squishing all the collards. Before we go to the front, I wanted to show y'all this mulch. These wood chips have been here about a month. And this slime mold, man, it's just coming in and eating it up, and I've got all kinds of crazy colors and different mushrooms coming up in here. So it's already being digested and eaten up by all this stuff. More mushrooms. So I love all this fungal activity that's starting to move into here. Alright, so still in the back here, we've got lots of bromeliads. I've got way too many potted plants, y'all. When we have frost warnings or think it's going to frost, I have to move so much into this garage here. It's nuts. I'm going to start getting a lot of this in the ground or giving it away. That's bougainvillea, mimosa, touch-me-not. It's a native. I'm going to put that in my food forest and it's a nitrogen fixer, so it'll do good in there. Thinking of putting this Ruelia, Mexican Petunia, in my food forest because it grows like a weed here and I can use it for chop and drop. I think it'll do nicely. All kinds of night blooming cactus, all kinds of daylilies and iris and succulents, echeveria, jade, I think that's a snake plant, a bromeliad. There's that calancho that was across the creek bed, aloe, spiny aloe, wisteria, crepe myrtle. This is gloxinia. That's a yucca, plumeria. That's another different kind of calancho. I've got all these cuttings that I'm trying to root: blueberry, persimmon, fig, stevia, rose. Got all kinds of plants potted up. I potted these up in the spring and probably going to do a little plant sale to help fund the food forest next year. This is the rose garden. This has been blooming since early April. I just keep deadheading. It's important to deadhead roses, cut off the dead ones so they don't go to seed. Once a plant goes to seed, it thinks its job is done. So if you're collecting herbs and your plants are going to seed early, you got to get those flowers off, or your plant will think its job's done and you won't get much herb. So here we go, moving up to the front. It's got some dirt here. Call it dirt, it's clay. Here's some bunch of iris, Indian hawthorn, agapanthus, bunch of daylilies. I hybridized daylilies, so I've got a lot of varieties from my dad who does the same, and I make my own. This is a black diamond crepe myrtle. I used to do only flowers until this year, and then I started growing food, and it's kind of led me down this rabbit hole, and now I'm starting to get rid of my flowers. These are all amaryllis, hibiscus. Gonna get rid of these flowers, and I'm gonna add in more berry bushes and make a functional garden that can offer us security in this uncertain time. Abelia, beautiful foliage year round. It changes and flowers and it's fragrant. Japanese maple. These are the okra in the front I was talking about. Got some more of that ajuga, ornamental cabbage. These are all gladiolus, these giant bulbs in here. I added this in. We're going to put a covered swing right here. And it's a little, I don't know, it's supposed to be like a sun. Pink muley grass, more agapanthus, bee balm, bergamot. That's Weigela floribunda. I don't know how to pronounce that first one, but it's really fragrant. I don't know why it's blooming again, but it is. Remnants of liatris. Got it over there too. These are red buds. Let me show you this. This area used to flood all the time. And after I got my wood chips and all this grass died off, I said, well, I can finally do that project I've been thinking of. And it's kind of like a little rain garden. I've added about 6-8 inches of pea gravel in here. And make sure, again, keep those mosquitoes out. You can't have standing water in Louisiana. Bad idea. Mosquitoes kill more people than any other insect. They carry so many different viruses, even here. Anyway, I've got some elephant ear, some dwarf papyrus, some of that swamp mallow, marshmallow, papyrus, elephant ear. Kind of trying to make it look like an eye. I'm going to fill in that open area with white star grass and other native grasses. I've got a crepe myrtle over here. This is a mayhaw, which makes a little tart fruit you can use for jams. It's going to get tall. It's, crepe myrtle I left here when we moved in. The homeowner had it. It's too close to the house, but that's the only one I left. And this ligustrum, also too close to the house, but it attracts a bunch of pollinators, so I left it. These are azaleas. This is another little garden area. This is another crepe myrtle outside my dining room window. I need to trim back all these suckers, but I've got lots of ajuga. I've got guara. Is this right here? Aztec grass or flax lily, hosta, more guara. The guara died back, but this is my bird feeder area, and I got lots of millet growing up from drop seeds. I let this grow up, cut it back, chop and drop it, put it in the garden. It grows right back. Chop and drop it. Got a little frost gardenia, dwarf gardenia. I'm going to move this because this whole area from here all the way up there, the whole front yard is going to be just like this area back here. I'm going to do that. I'm going to move this fence, pull it out, do chain along here and grow berries along it, and have a little gate up here. We have a dog and we have young children. We need to keep the back end closed still. So I'll have a gate flush with here and get rid of all of this grass and get rid of a lot of these flowering plants. I probably have 600, 800 iris. I mean, they're packed in there. You wouldn't think it, but with the backyard and between here, I have over 100 in the back. This is all iris. So it's gorgeous in March and April, but I need more food-producing plants for my children, for my family. That's the way we're moving. I mean, everything leads to this sustainable system, I think. So starting growing my own food led me down all this rabbit hole to permaculture food forests, and I think it's just the most sustainable way to do things. And the goal is to not have inputs that I have to bring in, not have to use fertilizer, not have to water, which, I mean, it's not a problem here. It rains enough. Sometimes we have long periods and you gotta water a little bit, especially the potted plants, but generally, especially now that I have all these wood chips, I mean, we have very heavy clay. That water's still under there, running under those wood chips, and the roots are just drinking it up, enjoying it. So they're no longer submerged in the clay water mess. They're so much happier now. They're above it, and I think they're going to do great. But anyway, welcome to my channel. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you get something from it and follow along. I guess the only thing I forgot to mention, my education background. I've got a bachelor's in philosophy, bachelor's in environmental science, and I did my entomology coursework. I'm a big amateur mycologist, so I can identify a lot of fungi like that dog vomit Slime mold, that one's an easy one though, you know. I can identify a lot of plants. I got just general good all-around knowledge of our natural systems. So I think this is the answer, y'all. This is what we got to do. And so I hope this can be a good building block for people that are wanting to do this kind of thing in Louisiana, because I didn't see many other resources. And, you know, Canadian permaculture legacy, what Keith does, it's awesome. You can get so much good information that you can use down here. But, you know, this isn't Canada. He's zone 4. It's cold. It's hilly. He has deer problems and rabbit problems. I don't have that. I have other issues that we talked about earlier. And, you know, there's guys like Pete Canaris, Green Dreams in Florida. Florida's pretty similar to here, but they're warmer. I don't think they have as many issues with flooding. I know they have the hurricanes, but they also have sandy soil. We have clay soil. So they have a whole different group of plants that can grow out there that aren't going to do well here. And we have some that'll do well here that won't do well there. It's a little give and take with each ecosystem. I'd love to have some amazing apples and buckthorn and all that, but I'll get gummy berries. Gummy berries are an amazing nitrogen fixer berry. I'm going to have them all throughout here. I'm going to have pawpaws, hopefully strawberry guava, all kinds of different things, y'all. I've got big plans for this area, so we're going to pack it in with fruit trees and berry bushes, and we've got herbaceous, we've got ground cover, we've got vines, we've got roots for the rhizosphere. I'm bringing it all in, and I'm making trades. I'm trading plants and trading seeds to get this stuff, buying some of it online because these are rare plants and not many people grow these things. It's hard to get them. So that's the plan, y'all. Let's get to it. Let's get growing with Grant. So, you know, whatever your reason for getting into permaculture, there's many great ones. You know, healing the planet's soils, storing more carbon, having a sustainable local food source that doesn't have to be shipped and packaged, having a beautiful place to live in and for your children to grow in, adding value to your property. There's so many good reasons to do this thing, but whatever your reason, I hope that I can help you. I hope that I can help guide you as I learn and grow. And there's plenty of other great resources out there. Green Dreams with Pete, Canadian Permaculture Legacy with Keith. There's Rob Greenfield, Jeff. There's so many guys doing this kind of stuff that you can find videos online, but you may find inspiration through me. I don't know. You may like the way I present things, or you may be in Louisiana and you have no other choice. You're stuck with me. Sorry about that. Anyway, I hope we're going to have a good time. I hope we're going to learn and grow together. If nothing else, I'll create a resource for whoever wants it while I'm creating my food forest. That's going to be an amazing thing for my family and for my life. It's already changing everything about me. That's my problem with permaculture. I'll do a segment on that, but it's addicting. Once you see it, you can't unsee it, and it's all that's important to you. So good luck with that. Let's get growing, everyone. Oh yeah, one more thing. I have an Instagram where I've been recording what I've been doing in my yard and my garden over the past year. So you can see all my plants in bloom, daylilies I've hybridized, daylilies that are blooming, all kinds of before and after pictures, and I try to get some artistic pictures in there every now and then. So that Instagram is at Lacady, Grows, which is the Acadian in French, and that's LACADIE dot GROWS at Lacady Grows. And so I've got a lot of great stuff there, but I'm going to start putting things on this channel and hopefully get a good solid blueprint background guide for whoever wants to do this in Louisiana.